You're listening to Rebel Spirituality with me, Sam Goldfinch. Here's the truth. Wisdom doesn't follow rules. So each week we're going to explore what it means to wake up your way so you can live a more peaceful, creative and inspired life no matter your circumstances. It's time to blaze your unique path to truth. Hey Rebel. So I really went round in circles a bit, like trying to think of what to title today's podcast, and I've landed on this. If you're thinking about life, you're missing it. And I really want to kind of talk about a strange fact that is very easily missed, that I know that once I came to see it in all its just directness, it completely changed my life. And it's this: there's a place before words, and that is the place from where we live our life, and it's now. And the issue is that any words or concepts or labels that we use, they're never direct enough to fully encompass what we're experiencing. So prior to me starting to talk, there was something appearing for you. There was an experience happening. There was presence. There was the richness of life. And then the moment we try and label that or talk about it, there's a delay, right? The words are always after now. They're always after the fact. They're never in the moment. So when we're walking through nature or out there in the world, any time that we're translating or conceptualizing, or even, I can't remember who said it, but I once heard someone say, the moment that we say, that's beautiful, that tree is beautiful, we've missed it. We're already out of it. That's a label at that point, right? We've already been in the raw, rich experiencing of the tree, of the sunset, or whatever it might be. And when we're in the richness, we're not translating at that point, right? We're not kind of translating and telling ourselves about the sunset. That's our attempt to try and recreate, if you like, the experience that we've already had. So the richness of life is outside of the words. It's in dropping any of the identifications, dropping all of the labels, and just being in the place before words. And often we might say, well, how do I do that? I can't do that. Like, I have concepts for everything. I look around my room and there's pictures and there's chairs and there's whatever might be here, or I go for a walk in nature and I look out there at the world. But you'll find that you can do that. Even if there's that thought, well, I can't drop all the concepts, just do it. Just drop all of the labels and just be. Just look around the room. It's like seeing the world with fresh new eyes. And the world doesn't need, this moment of now doesn't need words. It doesn't need translation. The aliveness is already there. It's just about being with the vibrant appearance, this radiant moment that's exploding into existence in every single moment. It doesn't need our labels and our concepts and all of that kind of stuff. Now, of course, there's a time in life for us to use words and for us to communicate with each other and for us to have a think and all that kind of stuff. Like, it's a wonderful gift that we've been given, but it's only one of the filters through which we see life. Like, if you think about it, there are layers to how we experience things. And this is just how I have come to think about it. And I found this helpful, so I'll share it with you. There's the unchanging you, being, the sense of I am. And interestingly, the sense of I am, the experience of being, knowing, existing, isn't the thought I am. It's the thought I am, the words are a translation, are an attempt to point towards the experience of that or the knowing of that, right? But the words come after. The words are just a translation. So often what I'll say to people in my groups is, you can say the words I am in your head, but now let go of the words. Just experience this, just this. And experiencing the raw moment of now is always beautiful. It's by the time we get into story and get into concepts, then we end up, the mind divides things up into up, down, left, right, good, bad, all this kind of stuff. But before the division, before that sense of separation, there's just being, knowing, the appearances that are showing up. So I'm going to have to use words here because otherwise I won't be able to communicate with you in this moment. But there's the appearances, which might be, our heart rate is at a certain kind of pace. We have feelings in our tummy or in our body, and there's all these different things, right? And so there's the level of the raw experience, and then we label something an emotion, and we label it something like anxiety, or we label it something like joy, or whatever it might be. And so then we start to build a story and conceptualize it. But that's actually way after the fact. And it's in that world that we get in trouble, as I see it. It's in the world of concepts, these filters, these things that we carry around with us, that we look out through our kind of lenses, if you like. And that's where the world looks a certain way. Like we've judged it. As I say, as good, bad. The mind works in opposites. That's how it works, right? But before the identification, before thinking, before the labels and the concepts, we're still in our own amazing special effects department, but we haven't added that kind of extra layer on there. And as we start to hang out in knowing, being, and appearances, we also don't get caught up in the self concept, okay? So the self, we know this, the self is a concept. It's not solid. It's not an object. It is also an appearance. The ideas and the thoughts and the stories that we have about ourselves, they are also an appearance, things that come and go and ebb and flow. None of them are fixed. And so when we're in the space before words, when we're not thinking about life, when we're just in it, that's the richness. That's the richness. We stand in front of a sunset and we're dumbstruck, right? We're just there, and we're in the space before we've even labeled the colors or anything, and there's just pure being experiencing itself as a sunset. And then the labels and the concepts pour in, and maybe we'll be walking around telling each other, "Oh, that was amazing. Wasn't that the most beautiful sunset you've ever seen?" But there's always a delay. And I was really struck by that. I'd had a bunch of insights into the nature of concept and how the richness of life, as wonderful as metaphor and language and words are, the richness of life can't be contained in language. The richness of life can only be, is this. But I hadn't caught sight of the fact that there's always been a delay. The now has never been a concept. You can't conceptualize the now. You can only be it. You are it. It's just unfolding. And that's an amazing space to live our life from. So as you walk around this week, as you go about your life, drop all the identifications. Just be in the space before words. Just look around and just see without the labeling. Just hear without the labeling. Just experience the richness of life. And notice the distinction between that and then the thinking or the voice that can come in and starts translating and narrating what it is that we saw in a previous now. Okay, so just before I let you go, I will be speaking at a summit that my good friend Deb is hosting very soon. So it's the 3rd to the 5th of June, 2025. It's on the topic of health and wealth, and I'm really excited to speak at the summit. So I'd love to have some of your support there, and just be really lovely to see some of your faces looking back at me on Zoom. It's totally free, and yeah, that's it really. So I'll put the link in the show notes. Go check it out, and I hope to see you there. All right, team, have a beautiful day. See you soon.